as well.
Recording in progress. So the introduction, as I've just said, is Virasana and Vajrasana. We're going to work on, so we're going to work through mostly through Virasana, but to some extent Vajrasana as well, okay? But what I'd like to do with you beforehand is a little bit of these practices that really draw the attention to the Dantien, the Agni center of the body, the lower part of the body. So we're going to do some simple Uddiyana Bandha, and you obviously have got the choice to do this with me or not, depending upon what's going on. So, you know, they might be contraindicated if you're halfway through a period or something, or you've got stomach problems, irritation. You might not want to do this. In a way, there's no real way of doing Uddiyana Bandha softly, not if you're going to do the full lock. So if you don't want to do Uddiyana Bandha, you might just want to do a little bit of Agni Sara instead, which is a bit more gentle and without the lock. Yeah. So just to refresh your memories of that practice, because I imagine not a lot of us do this regularly. I might be wrong about that. But we can do it off of kneeling. So you just want to take a full and complete exhalation. And then if you just engage the glottis, so locking the throat so that the air can neither come in nor go out, you get an automatic reflex. So Uddiyana Bandha acts as a reflex on the basis of that. Once you've exhaled, actually works on the in-breath as well, but we're working here with the out-breath. So as you exhale, you just tuck the chin in and lock the throat, temporarily not allowing air to come in or out. And then what happens is you get a reflex, you get this drawing in. So what we do is we just exaggerate the drawing in on the exhale. We exhale fully. We'll do it from standing because it's better done from standing than from kneeling. And it draws the focus exclusively to this area from the navel up to the base of the sternum. Yeah. And we're going to do that we'll do that 4 times, between 5 and 10 breaths, depending upon your capacity. So because it's a retention, you obviously don't want to introduce any unnecessary or uncomfortable tension into your system. So if it's comfortable, just do it for 5 breaths, stay in it for 5 breaths before you then smoothly inhale again. Remember, you've got to do a smooth release so as you breathe in. And if you're a bit more practiced, you might want to extend your time to 10 breaths. That's usually probably enough for most people. Okay, so we'll go from this to some Kapalabhati and then into the posture work. So I'd like you to come onto your feet. We're going to bend the knees and take the feet wider than the pelvis and take the hands onto the knees. So you remember you start off with the spine upright, and then you're going to exhale fully. As you exhale fully, you bend forwards completely. Okay, exhale from the mouth, it's much quicker. Completely into the lungs, or as much as you possibly can, and then you draw the chin in and lock. Allow the upward movement of Uddiyana Bandha. You just want to maintain that. Okay, so you don't maintain that folded. You come back up. As you come back up, that aids you in drawing the abdominal region in, so that assists the Uddiyana Bandha movement. So we know this is quite strong. Okay, so on your own time, you're going to start off by exhaling fully. So folding forwards, exhale. Bring the chin in. Hands down, straight spine, and bring it in. So bring in the abdominal region, hold it there, 5 to 10 breaths. Release the lock in the throat as you breathe in and release the belly. So you come out smoothly. You don't want this sharp, uncomfortable, jagged experience of breathing in again. Yeah. Okay, so do that again. Exhaling fully through the mouth, folding forwards. Press the chin firmly into the sternum. Bring the chin out and breathe in and release. Okay, really important to release softly, coming out of this softly. Do that 2 more times. Okay. Don't allow yourself to be gasping for air when you do this ever. Come out when you still feel there's a comfortable place there you're coming out of, not a rush to breathe in. Okay, so do this one more time. A few normal breaths first of all, and then the last one. Okay. And now if you come down to sitting position, any sitting position you want to start with. We are going to come into Virasana straight after. We'll just start off from here. So we all know Kapalabhati practice. We know how to do this. I did give a bit of a warning. That's a good idea not to eat a couple of hours before the session if you're going to do these kinds of practices. So we'll observe that. So this is like a continuation through the Kriyas from Uddiyana Bandha to Kapalabhati. It's a natural link connection between these two practices. So in the same area, just spend a minute taking your focus to the abdominal region. Just allow the pelvis to be rooted and the spine to stay long. So it's important to keep the spine axially lengthening here. Take a few deep breaths in the sense of diaphragmatic breathing into the abdominal region, just to enliven a bit more your awareness in that area. From just above to beneath and all the way down to the pubic bone. As we go through these practices, keeping the tongue in the mouth, at the root of the throat, the root of the tongue relaxed, keep the face relaxed, the eyes resting. Inner ears resting inwards. Gazing to the horizon softly or to the floor. We're going to go in rounds of 10 and we'll do a maximum of 4 rounds, okay? So whenever you're ready. One or two normal breaths, and we go straight into the next round. And one last round. We're going to take 5 full diaphragmatic breaths again, following the same instructions as before. Really keep alive to this area. From just above to below, all the way down to the pubic bone of the abdomen. bringing the focus in really clearly and strongly in the practice this evening. All right, now I'd like you to take yourself into Virasana. So I'm going to turn face on to the camera. Sorry, to the side, not face on, to the side. And most of the evening I'm going to work from the side, okay? So we're going to unite as best we can, unite the heels. So I'm aware, Sue, in your case, you're probably going to have to do these practices with the legs straight out in front of you, okay? Using a block if you need to. Actually, with Virasana proper, you can't really use a block. Okay, so by uniting the legs and by uniting the heels, you haven't really got a space to put a block down there. See how it is, and if it's not comfortable, then you can just open the space up so you can get a block in and just improvise, okay? Take your buttocks back with the hands and then sit back down so that you feel the ilium bones plugging into the tops of the heels, okay? So really get a sense of rooting down through the shins and the tops of the feet. Okay, just checking the spine is centered both ways, both laterally and vertically, in terms of the front of the body, in terms of the side of the body. Pelvis not rolling back, not rolling forwards. We'll just connect again with the breathing. So we're going to go through these poses from the point of view of joining them together with a sun salutation. And each time we come back into the pose, it will be a little bit progressive in terms of what we do. Okay. So just focusing your gaze forwards towards the horizon. Again, we're resting the tongue and resting the eyes. Aware of the body as a whole, especially aware of the feet and the legs being tucked under the pelvis, rooting to the ground. And from here, we're going to interlock the fingers and extend the hands forwards and bring the arms smoothly above us. One smooth movement. Continuing to root down through the ground and then lengthening through the sides of the body. So let's see if we can be aware of bringing the elbows in and turning the thumbs upwards towards the sky. Broadening the palms of the hands. So we're taking the awareness into the periphery. Hard to ignore what's going on in the feet and ankles here because it's quite intense on the legs. Okay. From here, bringing the hands forwards, you're going to bring yourself into the downward facing dog. So you're going to be coming in and out of the pose from downward facing dog, looking forwards and stepping the right foot forwards and lowering the back knee down, moving into the first lunge pose, the sequence, okay? Tucking your back toe under and lifting your knee, stepping forwards, folding to the legs. Exhale. On the in-breath, come back to standing. I'm going to lose my head whenever I'm doing standing here. Exhale, hands to Namaste, looking to the horizon. And with your next in-breath, palms of the hands looking up, sweeping the hands above you, looking up to the sky. Your drishti moves up to the thumb. Exhale, looking to the horizon and then to the floor, folding. Right foot goes back, left leg forwards, looking into the horizon, lifting the chin, chest forwards. Exhale, tuck your front foot back, come into the 8-point or the transition, Bhujangasana. Okay, look into the horizon, elbows in. Exhale, releasing the body down, tucking the chin in, and coming back again to downward facing dog. Okay, from downward facing dog, reset yourself up again in Virasana. It's where you may or you may not need to use a belt. So remember here, you want to try and keep the heels as united together as possible. We're not going to be able to get them right together in most cases, all right? But keep this whole section of the lower limbs close in together. Tucking the buttocks back if you need to. You're going to extend out your left arm to the side, right arm above you. So we're going to join the palms, join the hands behind us. fingers or use a belt if you need to. Look into the horizon, lengthening the spine from the pelvis, rooting down through the shins and the tops of the feet. So you're really aware of the base of the pose here, almost unmistakably, because the sensation is quite demanding in the ankles. Yeah. And keep the breath long and extended and smooth. And let the rhythm of the breath become more and more the focus, so the foreground focus. Okay, releasing the arms, we're going to make one smooth transition to the other side. So we're not initially spending a huge amount of time in the poses. Later on in the practice, we'll extend that a bit. Again, heart center facing forwards, balanced between the back and the front of the pelvis, spine lengthening, pelvis centered and neutral, spine neutral. Soften the root of the tongue, keep the eyes resting partially inwards, the gaze outwards to the horizon. Smooth rhythmic breath. A few more breaths in this side of the pose. And releasing the hands and fingers, sliding the hands, keeping the hands close into the body until you rotate the arms forwards. It can be quite painful to snap out of the pose. Slide your hands forwards. Come back into downward facing dog. One breath, next in breath, lift and step your left foot forwards. Right knee to the floor, looking forwards to the horizon, lifting the heart center. Tucking your back toe under and stepping forwards with your back foot folding into the legs. Complete exhale. Next inhale, grounding the feet, lifting the arms, looking to the thumbs, and exhale, looking to the horizon, arms by the side. Once again, raise the arms on the next in-breath. Exhale, you're going to fold forwards again. Smooth movement. Left foot goes back. Right foot forwards. Stepping your front foot back again. On the exhale, smoothly transitioning through the 8-point pose, keeping the elbows tucked in closely to the sides of the body. Lengthen the legs. Press the pubic bone down. Lift the heart center. Tuck in the chin and come back to downward facing dog. From there. Okay, shifting the weight forwards to the hands. If you come back on the knees again, that's where Virasana set up. Probably necessary to draw the buttocks out each time you come back into the pose. Just really clarifying that movement, that adjustment of uniting the legs together, the heels together, spine in a neutral position. Okay, bringing the hands to Namaste, looking forwards to the horizon. Extending the hands forwards and bringing the hands around the back into Pravrita Namaste, so reverse Namaste. Joining the ulna on the small finger side of the hand together first, and then if we've got space in the wrists, bringing the thumb side together. Okay, releasing the shoulder blades down, looking forwards to the horizon. Rooting through the shins, rooting through the pelvis. Again, keeping the root of the tongue, face, eyes soft. And sliding the finger side of the hand, small finger side of the hand down the spine to release the arms all the way down. Dragging the fingers on the floor, bring the hands forwards, come back to downward facing dog. And stepping the right foot forwards to the front of the mat, left knee down, looking forwards to the horizon again. Kidneys lifting and the heart center lifting. Lifting your back knee, stepping your back foot forwards and folding into the legs. So lifting out of the kidneys, keeping the spine long. Coming up to standing, putting the weight down through the bases of the feet, really firmly. Arms down by the side of the body. Your next in-breath, you're going to raise the arms again. Looking to the sky. Exhale, keeping the kidney lengthening through the sides of the body as you fold forwards, hands down. Let's step the right foot back. Bringing the opposite foot back, again making our transition from 8-point pose through to Bhujangasana and to downward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Once again, come back to Virasana. Same principle as before, uniting the heels. We're going to take the hands down to catch the sides of the hips or the heels, just under the feet. Okay, you might want to use a block in front of you for this, or a blanket, because we're going to come forwards now from classical Virasana, forward folding, and we're going to rest the head on something. So you might want to use a block, okay, or a blanket or something. So from here, you're going to keep the spine elongating all the way through the movement. It's important to keep rooting the shins and keep the pelvis back. Okay, the stomach lengthening over the thighs. We come to a position where we can rest the head on something, hopefully. Yeah. So we're working with the awkwardness of not having sufficient movement to expand the diaphragm here. Yeah, so we've got a very restricted movement on the diaphragm. So we're going to encourage the breath down into the body equally. Even so, even though there's this restriction, you actively breathe through the resistance. Okay, on the next inhale, lifting the head first of all, keeping the pelvis drawn right back to the heels as you come up. Slide the hands forwards to the front of the mat. Come back again to downward facing dog. Okay, lifting and stepping the left foot forwards from a high lunge position this time. So we keep the back knee lifted. Step forwards. Exhale, folding into the legs. Inhale, come back to standing. Bringing the arms down by the side of the body, smooth movement, grounding the feet, keeping the feet active. On the feet, lifting through the body, raising the arms on the inhale. On the exhale, lengthening the kidney area as you fold forwards. Okay, so broadening through the back of the pelvis, hands down. And step the right foot back. Left foot back, left foot back. The opposite foot back. And then coming from either plank to chaturanga down to the floor and bhujangasana, or taking the knees and the chest down so you do the easier transition. Okay. From there, we're going to come into bhujangasana. Higher up. Downward facing dog. and Virasana once again. Once in Virasana, extending the arms forwards of the shoulders, palms facing in. Going to join the palms of the hands together, just overlapping the thumbs at the root of the thumb, not the fingers, it's the thumb. Okay, extending the arms up smoothly above the head. Keep rooting down through the pelvis to the ankles, to the shins. Then you're going to try not to lift the pelvis too far away from the heels as you tip forwards from the pelvis. You need to bring the hands down on the floor. You're going to slide the hands forwards, keeping the arms straight the whole time, lengthening the waist, bringing the head down towards the floor. Okay, so making an effort to keep the pelvis drawn back as we lengthen the waist, navel away from the pubic bone to the chest, to the throat. Stay connected to the breath. Broadening out our attention to the surface of the skin around the body, sensations on the surface of the skin, and the sensations internally in the body. Okay, lifting the head to look forward, slide the hands along the floor initially. Then when you can, you're going to pick up the hands again, quickly root the pelvis back towards the heels and lengthen the hands above you again. So we come out reversing the pose the way we went in. Bring the hands to Namaste. Namaste. Take the hands forwards. We're going to come straight back in again to downward facing dog pose. One smooth transition. Dropping the heels down, grounding the hands. Looking forwards, going to step your right foot forwards. So we come from the upper lunge to high lunge. From there, stepping the back foot forwards, folding in and coming back to standing. All on the in-breath. Yeah. Exhaling, bringing the arms down by the side of the body. Once again, palms turning up, float the arms up to the sky. Turning the gaze upwards. Keep aware of the feet. Keep aware of lengthening the waist, keeping the kidneys lengthening. Hands down, okay? From here, right foot back. Left foot back again from the high plank position to Chaturanga Dandasana, to upward dog, or from to the 8-point pose and Bhujangasana, or whichever version you want to practice. When we come back again, once again to downward facing dog. Okay, releasing back down to Virasana as the base pose again. Drawing the buttocks back, hooking the iliums over the heels, okay? Keeping the legs united in the center, grounding the shins. So from here, so it starts to get a bit more demanding. We're going to come back into our arm position again that we're using Gomukhasana. So it doesn't matter which way you adjust the arms to start with. So try and keep a sense of the elbow above, extending and continuing to extend as you come forward. So we're going to come forwards in a forward bend from Virasana. So there's a sense of which the kidneys are lengthening, but the pelvis stays back in its position. Okay. So drawing the trunk forwards, it will come away to some extent, but make the effort, the intention to keep the pelvis back. Dropping the head down, keeping the elbow lifted,
And then with the opposite arm, be very careful with this because you don't want to let the shoulder roll round too much. You keep the shoulder lifted up, shoulder blade drawn in and down. Okay. Okay, really drawing the weight down and the energy down to the shins and the feet. And thinking about the pelvis coming back as we lift up on the in-breath. If that's too intense, take your arms away and press up with your hands. Okay. If you find that difficult to come out of with the arms adjusted in that way, then undo your hands while you're down there. Push up with your hands. Okay, reaching out through the arms, circling them gently one way and then the other. A few times each way. So I'm going to adjust our arms from the other side now. Yep, rooting down through the shins, looking forwards to the horizon again. Just checking that we're not introducing unnecessary tension into the face and the mouth, the tongue, eyes rested. Okay, on an exhalation, keeping a bit of tone in the abdominal area. So we make an abdominal, more like a Mula Bandha inhale. Draw forwards and down, keeping the elbow lifted, both elbows lifting up to the sky. Breathing rhythmically, breathing consciously as deeply as you can by using the diaphragm. Okay, you're going to raise up from here. So we need to put tension down to the feet and the shins. Okay, tone the abdominal area. Or an in-breath up you come. And releasing the arms out again, lengthening the arms out the height of the shoulders. And make circles one way, then the other. Okay, we're going to go through the sequence again of sun salutation. And downward facing dog first of all. Stepping the left foot forward, the right foot forward, sorry. Standing, the namaste. Arms down by the side. And catching the next in-breath, floating the arms up again. Falling forwards, keeping the feet grounded. Legs engaged. Keep the right foot back. High lunge or low variation. High plank. Bhujangasana to downward facing dog. And then we come back again, once again into the Virasana position. Okay. So this is the last cycle of doing this particular pattern, the last pose in this particular part of the Virasana cycle. We've got some more work to do in Virasana. So I'd like you to join the palms together for a moment in front, pressing the palms together, elbows lifted out to the sides, looking to the horizon. Be aware of the base of the shins, tops of the feet, grounding, rooting, pushing you up slightly from the floor. Take the hands around you in a wide circle and join the palms again behind you. Come together in reverse namaste. And then from that rootedness through the feet, from the pelvis, we're going to draw forwards, keeping the spine long, kidneys open, lengthening. Heart center forwards as much as you can bring the heart center forwards. And then the head comes down. Okay, so if you can maintain that for up to 10 breaths. Okay, drawing the elbows down and the shoulder blades down, lift the head and lengthen the spine first of all. And then keeping the pelvis as pressed back as you can towards the heels, roll back up. Once again, and then we're going to release ourselves from this posture now. So I'd like you to lie down from here, come to supine position. We'll be coming back up again later. So you're going to recline, you're going to bring up one of the knees. So we're going to see if we can take hold of the foot by crossing the hands over. Okay, so we're going to take the left hand to the outside of the right foot and the right hand to the inside of the right foot. If we can do that, if that just feels impossible, right, in terms of bringing the knee in towards the trunk close enough, then just take the hands outside in an easier way. Okay, so if we can't cross the hands over, then we're going to see if we can release the head back on the floor, keeping the spine long. Okay, so it's really pressing the hip very, very strongly into the hip joint and the thigh strongly in towards the trunk. So you're compressing the joint somewhat, yeah, quite firmly. Think about keeping the spine long, keep the leg extending on the ground. Actively working, broadening the foot. Breathing. And then releasing that leg out onto the floor fully. Bringing the opposite leg up, crossing the hands in the same way. Okay, so we actively lengthen the leg and keep actively lengthening. Try and keep the knee in line with the hip. You draw back on the floor. So there's a really deep sense of compression in the joints, probably for most of us, are feeling the contact between the top of the thigh bone and the front ilium. Yeah. Be aware of the whole body experience that's going on, both on the surface and deeper down. So sort of surface sensations, deeper sensations in the body, energetic sensations in the body. Okay, releasing that leg out. Straight, like you to lengthen the arms above you on the floor. You're going to lengthen out your body, pressing out the right arm and the left leg, and then the left leg and the right arm. Just alternating diagonally through the body a few times. Okay, we're going to roll over onto our side now, and I'd like you to come up So in order to do this, you might need a block. You might need to roll your mat over so that you can place it underneath your heels. It depends upon how you experience this particular pose. So this is part of the Virasana family. What we're doing here is what's known as Utkatasana 2. So it's taken from a combination of Virasana and the chair pose. Utkatasana 2. So we stay squatted down in this version, okay? And if you're just going to roll back and you just can't keep your body weight forwards, and obviously place something under your heels to prop you forwards, okay? Otherwise, once we're there, we want to just elongate the trunk and bring the torso onto the thighs, and we're going to bring the arms around the front, sort of hugging the knees so that we pivot there, allow ourselves to stay in that position. Again, we're bringing the legs in, unifying the inner legs, in this case, the ankles. And you're going to lengthen your spine. So you're going to lift your heart center and really look forwards to the horizon from this position, yeah? It's not a typical pose that we do. You'd often combine it with something else more dynamic, like the Utkatasana pose proper. From here, we're going to lift one arm, and then we're going to see if we can raise the other arm, joining the palms, overlocking the thumbs, lifting up for the count of 8 breaths, looking forward to the horizon. The thighs will start to burn because it's activating the thighs really strongly, just to maintain the position. Keep the legs centered. Looking forwards, 3 more breaths. Release the arms down and sit back for a moment. Yeah. So I'd like you to come into Sukhasana for a moment. So Sukhasana, we'll have because we're going to do this bilaterally, start off with the right leg in front and the left leg behind. So Sukhasana, we're going to go from Sukhasana to Swastikasana to the beginnings of Padmasana. Okay, so idea here is to have the heels, both the heels sort of in line in front of you. The knees are wide out to the side. And we're just going to align our spine again in the center so that we're not rolling back into retro or anteversion. So give a very broad base, rooting down through the pelvis and the ankles. So taking the breath as our focus, each in-breath, we're going to see if we can encourage a little bit more lengthening through the torso. This might be quite subtle. Through the waist of the body, through the neck. So you're growing the spine. Look into the horizon, centering your attention in the breath. Placing the hands down now by the sides of the hips on the floor. Now your arms might not be long enough to do this, so you might not do it at all, or you'd use blocks, but you can at least attempt even if you don't bring the whole body off the floor. So this is sometimes referred to as Lolasana. So what you're doing here is the idea is not to compromise the spine, but most of us, because the arms are not long enough, will have to bend the spine to get the hands down. So you're going to press the hips off the floor, keeping the spine long. So you're sitting on the hands, and you're going to see if you can lift the legs temporarily. Yeah. So it's like the vinyasa that you do in Ashtanga. Yeah, do that a couple of times, okay? So most of them got long enough arms. We've got the luxury of long arms. So we've got to take the hands down. to bend the spine, lift the pelvis off the floor. So you come to sit on the hands and then lift the legs for a few seconds, then come down. Yeah, let's do that a couple of times, okay? We're going to change our leg position. So we're coming back to, we're still in Sukhasana. Not yet gone into Svastikasana. Change the leg position, ankles in line in front of your pubic bone. You might want to roll your buttocks out, pull them out with the hands again, that does help. So once again, feeling the centeredness of the pose in terms of where the spine sits in relation to the pelvis in relation to anteversion, retroversion. If your chin is jutting out, bring your chin in so that you lengthen the neck a little bit. If your heart center is sticking forwards, let your heart center rest in. If your kidneys are rolling back, bring your kidneys gently in. Okay. I'd like you to place your hands down again. We're going to try this Lalasana once again. So bring the hands really close into your hips. So you're on your weight, so they're going to be viable. So if you've got a couple of blocks there, it's a lot easier. And then just lift your pelvis. So you're going to have to use your abdominal muscles to help pull the pelvis up off the floor. And then lift the knees and see if you can take the weight on the hands. Lift your legs. It's a momentary experience, isn't it? Like just a few seconds. I'll do it one more time. Plant the hands down. Lift the pelvis off the floor. Bring your knees up and then see if you can lift the feet off the floor as well for a few seconds. Okay, so we're going to watch, each of us are going to watch how our knees respond to doing these next few poses, okay? There's no question at all of we're going to find that one side usually operates better than the other side in terms of going deeper into Padmasana. We've got a better side. So the more flexible leg tends to want to stay above. So we're not going to do that initially. What we're going to do is we're going to start off by bringing the right foot just onto the top of the calf. So we're coming into more like Svastikasana, going in by degrees. Okay, so you've got the right foot sort of on the calf. If the toes sit very easily on the side of the thigh, that's okay as well. But more technically, the foot stays just on top of the calf muscle. So we've now got one knee on the floor and one lifted off the floor. So just again, once you've got that setup done, 8 breaths, look into the horizon, keeping the spine centered, pelvis rooted. We become aware of the most obvious sensations in the body, in the pelvis region. Sense of compression is going to be there to some extent. Also aware of the sensations associated with breathing. So these momentary sensations, this is all we can really know of our experience. We talk about sensation as if it was something solid. It's just like a wave or an impulse, a movement, momentary. Okay, I'd like to invite you to swap the leg position over. So let your upper leg fall to the floor. Bring your opposite foot tuck that into the calf. So now we've got the opposite knee lifted and the other one is down on the floor, all in well. So again, growing the spine, heart center and kidneys both equally quiet into the body. Chin drawn in and the neck is long. We're keeping the root of the tongue soft, keeping the eyes, although gazing outwards, there's a sense of the gaze resting inwards consciously. This clarifies our experience, these different levels of awareness. Okay, so I'm going to bring our upper foot off and bring. So we'll go to the right leg here. Just we'll bring in the left heel really in close to the pubic bone area. Okay, and you're going to take the right leg from underneath. Then you're going to bring the knee into the body and the leg into the body to stretch the outer part of the buttocks there, the lateral part of the buttock and the root. You know? Keeping the spine long. So if you can quite easily bring the top of the foot down onto the thigh in a way it doesn't strain either the hip or the knee, that's well and good. Okay, if that doesn't work, then just bring your foot back again to Svastikasana where you were before with the foot resting on the calf. Okay, so very attentive to the sensations in the joints here. If that goes easily, we'll pick up the underside foot and bring that onto the calf or onto the thigh. So at this stage, we don't want to be feeling like we're pulling joints grossly to be in a position. We should feel that there's a suppleness that allows us to do that without too much strain. If you can't achieve that, then you can always come back to Sukhasana and just sit in Sukhasana. All right, so just letting yourself try and relax around the sensations in the hips, because initially it's really intense to come into the pose. You're going to interlock the fingers and float the hands forwards. On the next in-breath, bring the palms above you, thumbs drawing up, really rooting down. So you can feel yourself rooting down through your pelvic bones here more clearly. Reaching up to the sky. So we're lengthening the body on each in-breath. Exhale, dropping down through the pelvis. Okay, undoing the hands, drawing the hands down. Okay, carefully undoing the bind of the legs. So whichever leg was above, foot was above, it's now going to go underneath. So the left leg, I think we should be working on now. We'll take the left leg and do the same thing. So we take the underside of the leg and draw that into our trunk. So the higher you bring the foot up and the more you turn the leg in, the more you'll feel that direct stretch through the buttock muscles. So you're outwardly rotating the thigh. Bringing the leg in. So you usually want to do this for a good 10 to 15 breaths. And then you're going to place it down if you can. So notice how you probably have got a very clear asymmetry in most cases here, and how we can do this or not do this. You have one side that's definitely better. So the foot, as much as it can, sits on to the upper part of the thigh. Then we're going to bring the bottom foot, if we can, and bring that up. Now, if you need support under that knee, if you find on one side it just isn't the same, not as easy to stay in, And just support the knee with something, a prop. Interlocking the fingers, drawing the hands forwards and up. Rooting the pelvis, looking to the horizon, rowing the spine on the in-breaths. Seeing if you can relax in all the different meanings of that term around the intensity of the thighs and the hips. So relax the pushing away tendency. Okay, releasing the arms down by the side to the floor. Undo the bind, top leg comes off first. Push the legs out in front of us. Just release the knees there for a moment. And then I'd like you to bring the left heel in again to the groin. Left heel comes right into the groin. Take the right foot with both hands. First of all, with the knee bent, and just as we did when we were lying down on the floor, we have that thigh really close into the trunk. Okay, and then you're going to extend forwards in front of you the leg to the extent you can do that with both hands. Okay, so you've got both hands. Heart center lifting gently, the kidneys lengthening, broadening, gazing off the top of the foot towards the horizon. Shoulder blades down. Okay. Shifting my right hand now into the inside of the right foot, catching the heel from inside. Left hand on the floor to support me. I'm going to bring the right leg out to the side. Try not to tip my body too far over to the left side. To extent it's inevitable. And try and keep the weight coming forwards and more into the center of the pelvis. Looking around to the left side if you can. So you've got the right leg going to the right, gazing to the left. And then we're going to bring that leg all the way across the midline to the left side, changing. So the left hand on the outside, the right foot, rotating from the torso, thoracic, right hand down, looking around towards the right side as the right leg comes across the left side. So try and maximize your sense of taking the thigh across the body to the other side, as well as maximizing the rotation of your spine in the thoracic region. Okay, so looking out to the left, right, back. Lifting as well, so there's axial lengthening through the spine. Okay, releasing that leg down, come back to the center. Change the leg position over, so the right heel comes in to the groin. Let's take a pause in Sukhasana for a moment. Noticing the body as it is at this stage in practice. Okay, so setting up and coming into the opposite side. It's on the left leg. So we make an effort to clarify, first of all, this sense of growing the spine. So the thigh comes in. And then lifting the foot out, extending the leg. Keeping the chin lifted higher than normal, looking to the far horizon. Heart center opening and lifting. Okay, bringing your left hand into the inside of the left leg and then bringing the left leg out to the left side. Rotating the trunk to the right side. This is where we really need to feel that we're rooting down through the pelvis and lengthening. And across the midline to the other side with the leg, right hand to the outside of the left foot, rotating to the left side. Keep a sense of broadness through the shoulders, through the upper chest. Okay, releasing back to the center, come back into Sukhasana for a moment. Absorbing the effects in the system of that practice, that part of the practice. Just let the breath normalize. So from here, I'd like to invite you to lie down, come into the semi-supine position. Picking up our pelvis, we're going to draw the tailbone further down so that we lengthen out the lumbar part of the spine into the coccyx. Bring the arms around us and we're going to take the arms and give ourselves a hug. Draw the shoulder blades out laterally. And then place the hands down on the arms down by the side of the body. Okay. Following the breath in a smooth way. So we're letting go of the more demanding part of the practice. It's going to do one or two things in a lying position. Two things to be precise, not one or two. So from here, we're going to float the arms above the head, pick up the pelvis in Dvipadam 5 times. Okay, so you're lifting the pelvis. And then you're re-establishing that sense of lengthening the lumbar as you come down. So the pelvis and the coccyx is the last thing to reach the floor. And so re-clarify that sense of lengthening the lumbar. Pushing through the feet, lifting the trunk. Opening the armpits, keeping the neck in its natural shape. Let the chin move away. Exhale as you press the spine down. You want to re-clarify that sense of lengthening the lumbar. The pubic bone. Pushing down through the tailbone is the last thing that happens. Do that 2 more times. One last time. Okay, we're going to unite the legs and the feet, the ankles inside. Pick the feet up off the floor, bring the arms out to the height of the shoulders, palms down, and roll the legs to the right side. One smooth movement to a simple reclining twist. Bringing the legs all the way down to the floor. Pelvis follows. Shoulders are rooted. So not exactly a passive twist. We're going to maintain a sense of tone, activity through the arms, through the upper back, grounding the hands. 8 full breaths, and then we're going to practice on the other side. Okay, bring your legs, both of them together, back to the center, and then roll to the opposite direction. Rounding the shoulders, so rooting the shoulders, same way that you root the pelvis, so you root the feet. Effort there to keep the shoulders grounded. Broad through the trunk, broad through the chest. And we bring those back to the center again. And you're going to bring the hands onto the knees, and we're going to take the knees out in wide circles, 5 times in each direction, moving into the center and out to the side away from each other. Nice and slow. Changing direction if you haven't already. Okay. We come around again into a sitting pose now. Perhaps Sukhasana is probably the best setup. I'd like you to, just the next couple of minutes, just work on softening around the spine, starting with the face and the head. Root of the tongue and the eyes resting. So you're just using the minimum amount of energy that's needed to maintain this posture without collapsing your spine. Everything else is going on. If you can, you let it go, you disengage. So it's a minimalist practice. Forehead smooth. And this conceptualizing mind, this very, very active mind, always stringing thoughts together. And let that draw back into the background. So it's not the dominant part of our experience. So we're trying to, in a sense, let yourself be absorbed by any experience of rest or relaxation in the body at the moment. Those gentle sensations emerge. They come more to the foreground, no matter how slight. Sense of undoing the day or undoing the week through the practice. Going back into a space of restfulness. So you're letting that happen neurologically, you're letting that happen physiologically, mechanically, and mentally. We're going to raise our right arm, right hand, and take whatever position with the hand we want. We're going to begin by breathing in through the right nostril. So we're going to do 6 cycles in total, just 3 on each side. So gently blocking off the left, breathing in through the right. On the exhale, blocking off the right, breathing through the left. Breathing in through the right. Exhaling through the left. Breathing in through the right. Exhale through the left. Next inhale through the left. Exhale through the right. Breathe in through the left. Exhale right. And once again. Exhale right. Okay, now just relaxing the effort of the breath. You can bring the hands onto the lap if you wish, or onto the knees. So we're going to just connect on the most obvious sensations of the breathing, wherever they happen to be occurring, in the chest or the throat, the nose, the belly. We're going to try and infuse the breathing with this sense of rest, whatever it takes, to whatever extent we built that up. So it's like every exhalation becomes just a little bit more full in terms of letting go. So we're just keeping the mind ongoingly with the breath, the most obvious sensations of the breath.
So just feel free to carry on practicing like that if you want to finish in your own time.